Welcome to Option Pit Rules of the Road. Today we start with the very beginning. What is an option? Before I begin, I just want to remind you that this is for educational purposes only. Shouldn't be considered investment, legal, or tax advice of any kind. This is for educational purposes only. Please read the disclosure before you move forward. So what is an option? An option is the right, but not the obligation to buy or sell a security at or sometimes before a given date. But options are actually no different than baseball contracts. It's all about buying value. All right, to show that to you, I want to bring up Anthony Rizzo. In 2013, Anthony Rizzo signed a 7-year, $41 million extension with the Cubs. Deal with first baseman ran through 2019, but it had two club options. So that means the club had the right to sign Anthony for 1 year, and then if they wanted to, a second year. So why would you exercise that club option? So a club option allows the holder to retain the services of the player for an extra contract year. In the case of Anthony Rizzo, he had two of these options. In this case, the club has the right, but not the obligation to keep Anthony Rizzo. So in front of 2020, they evaluated what Anthony had done and decided, hey, you know what? We're going to exercise our option to pay Anthony this amount of dollars to retain his services for a year. And then in 2021, leading into this season, they did the exact same thing. They looked at what Anthony had done and what it would cost to get a similar first baseman, and determined that paying him the amount of money they had agreed to pay on that second club option, which happened to be $16.5 million, was worth it. So they exercised that option. All right. You would exercise an option on a baseball player because you believe that he is outperforming the value of the contract. Right. In this case, the Cubs believe that if they went into the open market and tried to sign Anthony Rizzo in just a straight contract, it would cost them more than $16.5 million. So they exercised their contract. They saw value in exercising the contract to retain his services because they could not replace his services for less and get that kind of output. Options are no different than baseball contracts. We exercise an option, that obligation, because it is outperforming its value. Here's an example. I buy an option to buy stock XYZ for $50. I have two choices by the time the option expires, right? I can exercise that option, which means buying the stock, or I can choose not to exercise the option, which means I don't buy the stock. Very similar to that baseball contract, right? I could either exercise my baseball contract on Anthony Rizzo, and thus keeping him for a year, or I could choose not to, and thus make Anthony Rizzo a free agent and go into the open market and find a replacement. So when I buy an option contract to buy stock XYZ, here are my two choices. I exercise the contract, and I do that because the stock is outperforming. So if the stock goes above $50, right, remember I have the right to buy XYZ for $50, right? The stock is outperforming my option contract, right? So I own a contract to buy XYZ for $50. XYZ is trading above $50. My option contract is outperforming. I'm going to exercise it. Or if XYZ is not performing, if it's below $50 a share, then I will choose not to exercise the contract. Stock does not go above 50, then my stock is underperforming my option contract. Now, there are two types of option contracts: the right to buy a stock, a call option, or the right to sell a stock, a put option. I'm going to get into these at a later date. Both depend on the underlying getting past the strike price, something else I will get into, but in the case of stock XYZ, my strike price was $50. All right. So if the underlying gets past that strike price the contract is purchased on, then that contract is outperforming. It is doing what I wanted to do, and thus I'm going to exercise it. Now, here's how options are not like a baseball contract. Unlike a baseball contract, there is a cost associated with options. Right? In order to get that right for outperformance, traders must buy these contracts for someone. I have to pay someone for a right. The buyer owns the right to take advantage of that outperformance. The seller has an obligation to deliver. This is called exercise and assignment. We will go through these as well in driver's ed. Next week, I will explain the ins and outs of call options. Now, if this is new to you or you have questions, I want you to call us 1-888-872-3301. That spells 888-TRADE-01. We are here to help you. We're here to educate you. So if this is something that you want to know more about, or you want to move along on driver's ed quickly, reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for your time. I'm Mark Sebastian, your only option, signing out.